Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
We're so pleased to have on Grammy Award-winning singer, songwriter, incredible guitarist, Christone Kingfish Ingram. Christone, thanks for coming on the show.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You know, it's like I've been keeping up with your career for a number of years, and you've done so much for really bringing contemporary blues back into the focus again. I got to talk about this album you put out last year, 662, that #1 on the Billboard Blues charts last year. You won a Grammy for it, and you worked with a guy that's pretty well known here in Nashville, Tom Hambridge, over here at Ocean Way Studios. How did that go for you?
Man, it went great. I already had great chemistry with Tom from the last record, so it was very easier to make and navigate through. I just pretty much wrote the record about my life in the last 2 years before we even made it. So it turned out well, and everybody seemed to dig it.
Well, there's so many great songs on there, and a lot of them I could hear your influences, but also, I also, Kingfish, I heard, a growth, with your voice and everything, from, starting out so young as you did. It just seems like more maturity. And also in this album with 662, it seems like to where it's almost autobiographical. Did you feel that way when you were doing it?
Most definitely. Those were some of the things that we wanted that we kind of like wanted to showcase with the record. #1 being the growth. Along with my, like you said, my voice, my guitar playing, everything sounded, a little bit more, mature and grown.
Mm-hmm.
And, and even with my life, like I said, the things that I was writing about had just happened to me in the last 2 years, losing my mom, relationship problems, traveling up and down the highway and whatnot. So yeah, that pretty much was the aim. That was the aim with the record. Sure.
Well, and listening to you, and it's, and I was always wowed by your guitar playing and the way you approach the guitar, giving a nod to the classics that, that you grew up with, just like I grew up with in the blues field. Also the newness and freshness that you bring to it with a little bit of rock and roll edge. And I was going to bring up the bonus track on your album that is, for your mom, Princess, rock and roll. And what a great tribute to her, listening to the lyrics and listening to that song, really, you giving her credit on that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, we were approached by Miss Ashley Ray and Sean McConnell. Yeah, two prominent Nashville artists and songwriters.
Right.
I want to say in December, shortly after her funeral, we did a show in Nashville. And they came to us with the song. My manager came to me. He was like, man, this song is really beautiful. And we we got it. Changed some words here and there, and it came out to be, like a very beautiful piece. My mom sacrificed a lot when she became my manager or whatever, so we just tended to write about that, and she was very religious. We put some, angel, type of references in the song. So yeah, man, I'm glad at how it turned out.
Well, and with you, getting so much national notoriety now, it's one thing, coming out of Clarksdale, Mississippi, the home of the blues anyway, but it's like, now you're playing internationally, you're getting these compliments and rave reviews from, Billboard magazine, Rolling Stone, NPR. You had 2 songs on Luke Cage movie. What is that feeling like now? Do you really feel like you're sort of coming into your own with this?
Oh, most definitely, man. I'm just, like I always say, I'm just riding the wave. I'm grateful to everybody. I'm grateful to the big man above. For just allowing me to be this vessel. And yeah, man, just riding the wave.
Well, I know you've been doing. You put out your Christmas song last time, and I think that you're going to have to go back and do maybe a whole Christmas album. In the coming future. Are you already working on your new songs for the next album? I gotta ask.
Yeah, actually, we actually have something big planned, man. We're not going to announce it until the next couple of months, but as far as albums, it'll be something that a lot of my fans have been asking for. So we got that coming, and I'm also here in LA, working on new music. Trying to get a different sound and something that's related to the blues and stuff. So yeah, man, I'm always working on new music for sure.
Well, and I got to bring this up too with the National African American Music Museum here in Nashville, that you are
Hmm.
featured on the video with a few other icons like Prince and BB King.
Hey man, that's some great company to be in. Yeah, yeah.
Well, also though, I got to brag on you now. You got to open up for the Rolling Stones, and then you shared the stage with the Vampire Weekend, and also Jason Isbell and Buddy Guy, who raves about you as well.
Right,
And
right.
what does that feel like?
It's great, man. The Rolling Stones gig was dope because we were like we weren't the only band, but we were the only band to have two sets.
Mhm.
So that was like we thought we were special, you know. So I got a chance to see them live for the first time. It was really dope. And Mr. Isbell is cool. I got to open a show for him at the Ryman. Vampire Weekend is really dope people. They kind of welcomed us with open arms. And you really can't you can't say too much about Mr. Guy because there's no words, man, because that's the GOAT, that's the legend. So
Right.
I'm really thankful for him and everything that he's done for my career for sure, for sure.
A lot of people may not realize that you began playing drums, then you went to bass, then guitar, but you started taking lessons at the Delta Blues Museum there in Clarksville, right?
Right, right. Yeah. They had a arts and education program that I was very fortunate to be a part of. My teachers were nationally, but locally known blues musicians in the area, like um, Richard Chrisman, aka Daddy Rich,
Mhm.
Bill Perry, aka Bill Howley Bad Perry, and Anthony Big A Sherrod, and the list goes on. And I just pretty much, man, they taught me the basics of the blues, and just really, encouraged me and supported me for sure, for sure.
And then,
And Mr. Perry was the one that actually gave me the name Kingfish.
right, that's what I heard. And
Yeah.
then a few months later, you were playing at Ground Zero Blues Club.
Yeah, man. But my actually first paying gig, like from the museum, like not
Right.
even like didn't have nothing to do with them, was at a place called Reds. It's another little Clarksdale juke joint. So
Mhm.
yeah, that was when I was playing bass at the time, man. So yeah, man, it was a start.
And it's not lost on me too that you weren't far from the crossroads where Robert Johnson made his deal, supposedly.
Yeah, supposedly. Supposedly,
Right. I think we both know that story pretty well. But I mean, I got to bring this up too, Kingfish, to where I saw a while back, and you play a mean guitar, as we all know, but you started working with Fender and you have a signature model.
Yeah, man. We did that. That came out in August of last year, but we had been working on it for like a year and a half. I just wanted something that was like balls to the walls, when it comes to a guitar. Like
Right.
it ain't no secret. I was a Les Paul player before I got with Fender, and I'm always gonna be a humbucker guy. So I
Yeah.
told them I just wanted something that can put me in the mind of that, and they
Mhm.
delivered, man. Yeah, the pickups are like modeled out the classic 57s. I have the stop tail piece. It's really dope, man. Really dope. Everything we designed, came from me for sure, for sure.
Well, so I'm sure that's going to be on your next new music coming out then too.
Oh man, most definitely, most definitely. We got to put it on the record. We got to put it on the record.
So I got to ask you this, Kingfish. Any other new like pedals or amplifiers or anything else that you've been testing out lately that's kind of hitting a sweet spot with the music?
When it comes to pedals, I only use three: a tuner, a wah wah, and a distortion. Sometimes I add delay in there just to be fancy or whatever. But
Right.
I've been switching distortion pedals a lot, only because I'm kind of hard on them and I be breaking them at shows and stuff like that. But the one I'm using now is really cool. It's a Marshall Super Shred. It's like a
Ah,
reissue of one of their
yep.
pedals from like back in the day. So
Right.
yeah, man, I've been using that one, man. It gives me the tone I want.
Well, and I did hear a little wah on the 662 album too.
Yeah. What I like to do on my leads, I like to use Cocteau,
Uh-huh.
like type of thing. It gives me a really good sweet spot, that I'm able to like go in and for sure.
Well, and some of our viewers may not realize also that 662 is the area code from where you were raised.
Most definitely. Yeah, man. The Mississippi Delta, north, west, I want to say. Yeah, in that area for sure.
Well, and I've got to ask you this too. I know with one of the influences, your dad showing you that documentary, on PBS where you guys watched Muddy Waters. How much did that influence you now? Because I can hear so many blues influences when I listen to you play. How did that documentary kind of point you in the right direction?
Well, for one, when it came to the blues, Muddy Waters and BB King, Muddy Waters especially was kind of like the starting point for me when it came to knowing blues history. So I had always been a fan of how Muddy, phrased his words and phrased his notes when he played slide, which I'm going to be adding a little bit of that to the next record. So you will definitely hear the Muddy Waters influence with my slide playing for sure.
Yeah, because it's like on 662, I could hear Muddy, I could hear some BB, I heard some Stevie Ray Vaughan. Also, though, I heard some pure Kingfish where there's some rock in there now.
Oh, thank you, man. You know what we try to do. We can't, just emulate. We gotta take it and make it our own, in a way. So.
Well, and I know that all the shows you've been doing have been selling out, which is incredible. And you're on this great tour that you've been doing all over the world. I want to make sure for our viewers, for the new music coming out, for everything else, that you've got going on, where should they go for websites, social media, you name it?
Callmekingfish.com. It has everything. If you want to know any shows, any news about music, everything is beyond there, like merch, all of that, man. So callmekingfish.com. That's the one.
Well, and they can also see you on the cover of magazines. They'll pop up on there like Guitar World, Vintage Guitar. The list can go on and on.
That's all good. That's all good.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're such a gifted artist, and it's just great to see you growing and growing with your vocals as much as your powerful guitar. Can't wait to hear the new songs and to see you live on tour again. Because I know you're everywhere.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to get back to Nashville, man. We have a fun time, man. Every time we're in Music City, as they call it.
Well, it's almost like you're a local here when you're hanging out with Tom Hambridge all the time. It's like, you're not that far from Nashville out of Clarksville,
No, not at all, not at all, man. It might be a second home. You never know.
There we go. I'll tell you what, Christone, Kingfish, Ingram, thank you so much, Kingfish, for coming on the show, and congrats on all the great music and everything you've got going on.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. Peace. Thank you.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.